In this video, we're going to doodle watercolor cats with the goal of getting out of our comfort zone and developing our artistic style. Simple goal. Hello my friends, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and in this video we'll use watercolor paints to doodle some cats or kittens. I am getting out of my comfort zone. That's my goal in 2022, is to illustrate things that I normally wouldn't and expand and develop my own artistic style. So I did this cat practice in my watercolor sketchbook the other day. This practice is a little more detailed than what I want to do in today's video. Today I want to keep it simple, doodle-like, childish, and I hope that you'll join me because it's a great way to develop your own artistic style. And I will come back to these more detailed cats in a second video coming out this February. So you don't need my exact supplies, but here's what I'm using today. I have my little Strathmore watercolor sketchbook. It has 140-pound paper. I've got a couple small round brushes, number 4s I think, and then a number 8 long round brush. I've got 2 glasses of clean water, paper towel for blotting my brush, and my Mungyo 48-pan set of watercolor paints. In this video, we're going to use watercolors in this really fun and free way to sort of doodle cats. So I don't think that color mixing is super important, but I am grabbing some colors like French gray, Van Dyke brown, and black, and you can see I've just got them all kind of up there at the top of the palette so I can play around and mix. I also have a little bit of Van Dyke brown mixed with red brown, and then I might throw some white in there so I can get a really light creamy brown. And I'm just kind of playing with any colors that, would be good for a cat. So maybe some orange, again, mixed with a bit of that red brown and some white so we get this natural creamy orange color. Other than mixing brown in to make sure that your colors aren't too bright, I say just have fun and see what you come up with. Okay, let's begin our cat doodles. And do try to think of them as doodles. I know this is tough, but if you can, think of how you would paint a cat when you were a kid. That is how we're going to figure out what our artistic and illustrative style is. It's by getting back to basics and not being afraid to draw or paint a subject. So when I think of a cat in my childish mind, I just think like round head with 2 pointy ears. And that's exactly what I've, started with here, is those pointy ears. I have thickened them on the inside edge to kind of show that they're a little bit turned outward. And then I'm, just making this kind of messy round head shape, and I'm filling it in with watercolor. I know that I want to give my cat a little snout that's a little bit lighter, so I can just draw that in with watercolor and just avoid painting there. Simple as that. My goal for the new year is to get out of my comfort zone and paint and draw subjects that I normally wouldn't be so comfortable with. I want to figure out what my artistic style is. Yes, I have a definite style when it comes to flowers, sure, because I draw and paint them all the time, but when it comes to animals, not so much. So by getting back to basics and painting and doodling like a kid, I am going to at least begin the process of figuring out what my style is. And I hope that you'll join me. I'm going to fail and make mistakes, and I hope that in doing so, you'll see that it's okay for you to do the same. Let's start another cat together here. This one I just doodled that little circle. So started with the shape of the head, and then I'm adding the ears. Same idea here, except this time I kind of made the head a little bit long and wide, so he's going to be this big fat cat. And then I'm using the paint to actually show motion and movement of the fur. You can see me doing these brush strokes going out from the center of this face, and that kind of just gives that furry effect without me doing too much. So simple, and I've avoided the little muzzle or snout area because I know I want to put a little pink nose, and I want to keep that area just a little bit lighter. And you can see how much you can change the face of a cat by simply changing the size and shape of some of these elements. The second cat, his face is much wider, it's more squished, so is his nose and his muzzle, and choosing to make those little changes actually kind of helps you add to the cat's look and personality. And that's the fun of doing these doodles and illustrations. When you let go of worrying about making it look good, you get to have fun and actually develop characters. For my third cat, I just mixed a little bit of white into my gray and brown mixture for this really light, natural looking gray. And you're going to see me approach each cat doodle slightly differently, but they're all pretty much the same, right? So this one, I just blocked out the shape of the head, and then I decided let's do that little pink round nose first, and then we'll grab that creamy beige and we'll do his little snout. And then once I've completed those smaller details, then I'll fill in the rest with my main color, which in this case is going to be gray. So approach the cat doodle however you are comfortable. And I think that will actually help you to keep it really childlike and keep it simple. Are these really simplistic cat doodles going to be my animal illustration style? I don't know. Are the more complex cats that I showed you at the beginning of the video, are those going to be the way that I, paint cats? I don't know. I'm just trying things in different ways, and I'm hoping that by experimenting and playing, that will help me get to a place where I kind of understand my artistic voice a bit better. Okay, if you're thinking these cats don't really look that cat-like, let's continue on. We're gonna make sure that our initial painting is dry, and then we will use a wet on dry technique, which just means painting on top of paint that is already dry, and we will start adding some simple details, like 2 little black eyes. Not a lot of detail there, but it really brings that cat to life. A little snout, maybe 2 or 3 whiskers. All I have on my brush here is a bit of black watercolor paint, and I'm almost using it like a marker to add some tiny little hairs on his ears and, in between his eyes. I mixed some brown with my black to give him some basic stripes, and I finished that first cat with a little low light on the bottom of his nose. Simple. We'll move on to the second cat. I started with the low light on the nose, and I had forgotten to paint his pink ears. Then once again, I'm using just a bit of black on the tip of my round brush, and I am almost drawing with my paint at this point. And this cat, this fat and sassy guy, has kind of closed, sleepy eyes. And again, I'm drawing in his little mouth and snout. I kind of decided I would give him some more eyelashes there to give him that sleepy but pretty cat look. And I just want to reiterate that it's all about, making up a little character. This is really fun. I always talk about getting lost in the painting process. Don't worry about if it's good, worry about if you're having fun. And in this case, the fun is partly the painting, but also the character building. I'm going to complete this second doodle by adding some detail to his fur. Working that wet on dry watercolor technique almost allows us to feel like we're drawing with a brush pen because it's so precise. The paint is not going to move. It's going to stay just where we place it. So I mixed up a slightly darker reddish orange, and I'm doing some little striping and fur detail around his face and on his brow and his ears, and it's all quite precise. And then if I want to, I can blend those markings out with a wet brush. So if I want to muss them up a bit, I can do that. Or if I want to leave them being really precise, that's an option as well. So he's looking quite cute and fuzzy, and all we had to do was go in with a little bit of dark orange paint on the tip of our brush. I'll approach this one in much the same way because I'm doing wet on dry. I want to make sure that he is in fact dry. I'll add a little bit of that peachy pink. This is just a blend of peach with red and white. I'm adding that to his ears. We're going to put those same little black eyes. I can be really precise, of course, just have a little bit of black on the end of my pointed round brush. And then I'm mixing gray into that black slowly. And just like I did with the orange cat, I'm going to put some furry markings and lines on his temples and his brow and around the edge. I'm going for more of a stripy look with this guy, so doing some kind of horizontal stripes. And then I'm going to put some little dotting before I place his whiskers. And I'm just realizing I forgot to do whiskers on the orange cat, so I'm going to add them on him as well. I also kind of wanted to add some little nostrils. I thought that might be part of how I wanted to illustrate these cats. So you're always thinking as the artist and illustrator, what do I want to include? Do I want to include detailed eyes? Do I want to include nostrils? Or do I want really simplistic black eyes? Do I want to skip out on details like nostrils or on details like, I don't know, the little hair details? Do I want to put lots of whiskers or only a pair, like 2? So those are your choices. And by making choice after choice, you are developing your artistic style. That's really all it takes, is making choices and practicing. That is such a popular question. That is my number one question in my DMs. How do I develop my own style? How do I know when I have my own style and can start selling my work? I think it just takes time and it takes choosing. Think about how you want to present your world back to the viewer. That is what makes your art so special and unique. And that, I think, is what makes it fun for you to produce. I added some cute little flowers to my sketchbook practice piece, and those are my illustrated watercolor cat doodles all done. I found working with this unfamiliar subject actually a lot more fun than I expected. And if you would like to continue your cat watercolor journey, I will be back with another video showcasing watercolor cats that are a little bit more like what you see in my other sketchbook. So in February 2022, look for a second video on watercolor cats. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. There's a new video every Tuesday and Friday around here, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button.